Good evening, or good day, it all depends, and welcome back to the Impossible Iron Man channel. Today I have a solo bounty hunt walkthrough for you. Wanted to give you some tips and guide you through my mindset while I'm playing, especially since I don't use voice chat in the clip. I prefer not to. People like to use psychology on you to get you to make mistakes, at least when I'm playing by myself. When duos, trios, or mean loadouts, that's a little different. But that's another clip for another time. In this clip, I'm using a Crown and King with slugs and a Caldwell conversion uppercut. A bit sweaty, I realize, but when you play by yourself, you realize there are no rules. You do what it takes to win. It's a different ballgame entirely. So I'd like to show you how I go about that. I hope you enjoy the clip, and I hope it helps you in your future solo bounty hunts. It's at this point that I hear footsteps, I acquire my target, and I go about formulating a strategy as to how to press up on my opponent. This is a level 1 hunter, so it is a Devil's Advocate, one of the new legendary skins from the winter event. So it starts out with a few traits, but I don't have Lightfoot or anything like that that I would typically bring on a shotgun loadout. So I'm going to stay frosty, check my corners, make sure there's nobody corner camping me, and make sure that I am clear to advance into the boss lair and engage my target. I'm also trying to be wary of hunters coming in from other vantage points or other directions, and I'm making sure to check those areas before I advance. It's the building across the way there that often has people aiming out of the windows, an approach from the other side of the compound, and a sniper tower across the water there. So this is a trick I learned from watching another content creator, Gunsmack, using an alert mine to block the sound of me climbing the ladder. The alert mine, while it'll let people know the general direction I'm in, if my opponent were to hear me climbing the ladder, they could rush over and potentially gun me down before I even reach the top. So at least this way, they realize that I'm somewhere, but they're not entirely sure where, which gives me the advantage in this next encounter. Slugs being slugs, a nice quick one tap to the chest. It's also possible that he took some damage from the boss on the way out. At this point I'm listening for more steps. I go into dark sight to check the boss lair. It will flash white when the coast is clear in the immediate vicinity, or red if there are hunters around the building. But I notice it's white, so I go about getting ready to fortify the area. I'm going to set some alert mine traps on barrels, which will detonate them if anybody trips it. And I'm going to establish my defenses and formulate a plan from there. Now, I know what people are going to say about this. Oh, look at the crown player running back into the corner, shotgun camper. However, there's several things I have to consider here. The uppercut takes forever to reload, and I want to keep it topped off. I don't know if this Felis has a partner or not, and if I try and pressure that tag I just landed, there's a good chance I'm running straight into crossfire. I'm also fairly certain at this point that there are multiple targets around the compound, which quickly gets confirmed by some shooting from both parties. So I know at this point I am most likely surrounded. I need to proceed carefully, listen to footsteps, and just try and deal with the target that is closest to me at the time, without wandering into multiple crosshairs at once. So I'm looking around to see if I can find a partner, or if they decide to re-peek me at this angle. But, right here, I hear the assassin engage the Felis that's starting to head into the building. I hear them take bleed damage. And I take a quick look around, confirm that my indicator is red, and I decide at this point that I'm better off holding the angle. There's no point in me placing myself between the aggro of the assassin and my opponent. After giving it some consideration, I decide my next tactic in order to see if I can pressure my opponent out of their current position. As I decide to re-engage the boss, being that it's the assassin, I decide to go ahead and chuck a few lanterns at it, let it do some gradual damage, and make some progress on it without me having to do a whole lot. I know my opponent can hear this, and my goal here is to make him think that either he has gone away, or that I am too busy with the boss to pay attention to him. So I'm trying to bait out some kind of advance on his part. I am going to cut through part of this because this dance goes on for quite a while. My opponent is very passive and is not necessarily in the wrong to try and keep at his effective range with his long ammo. So it's just a little game of cat and mouse to see who falls into whose crosshairs. At this point, the long game of cat and mouse is finally over. I have finally slain my opponent. I confirm that the boss layer is white again, and that this was indeed the opponent with long ammo. And I get back to finishing my boss, while still being wary that there could be some stragglers waiting for a banish. That didn't end up happening, but one thing I want to stress about this, that I didn't cover earlier, is fighting within your effective range. There is a fine line between being a camper who sits in a corner, stares at a door for 30 minutes and hopes someone will pass through, and simply trying to maneuver around the battlefield to play within your effective range. During this entire battle, I have a shotgun with slugs, which gives me a bit more range so long as I'm accurate, but I'm up against long ammo. And while some people might criticize me for being fairly passive during this whole engagement, it would have been foolish for me to step into the comfortable range of my opponent, who for the most part was sitting in the buildings around the compound, waiting for me to step out in some way, shape, or form. But the approach I ended up taking was to try and bait out movements from my opponent and not making a move on him unless I was absolutely sure where he was located. There's no point in me taking a shotgun to fight a long ammo fight. So I did whatever I could to bring him to me, and ultimately my patience won out, and I was rewarded for it. So remember, reposition constantly, fight within your effective range, and fight with information as well. I do a lot of micro disengaging throughout this entire game to make sure that I can listen for footsteps, listen for boss aggro, and anything that will tell me exactly where my opponent is sitting before I move in on them. With all that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the clip. I hope you found my advice useful, or my gameplay, or both. If you guys have any other questions, maybe about something I did that I didn't cover or commentate on, please feel free to ask in the comments below, and I will be happy to answer the questions. Let me know if you guys like this type of content, and I will put out more guide-style things in the future. And let me know, of course, if you just liked the game itself. I know there was a lot of fast-forwarding through some more passive moments, but coming up here soon, I have some very juicy gameplay for you guys. Be a bit more action-packed, and also have some hilarious commentary and banter going on between me and my teammates. So look forward to that, and I'll see everybody on the next one. Good hunting in the Bayou, everybody.